Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mass Retirees Weekly Update. Today's Friday, February 21st. I'm Sean Duhamel. Thank you so much for joining with us and tuning in again this week. Now I've got a hodgepodge of topics to cover. Social Security Fairness Act, a letter we sent to Congress this week, a survey that we're conducting of our membership, some upcoming events next week that we're keeping a close eye on. But before I get into any of those things, just a quick update, a reminder for everyone that today at 11 a.m. we will be holding our Boston area meeting at Florian Hall in Dorchester, 55 Hallett Street. The meeting kicks off at 11 a.m. We're expecting a great crowd today. We've got a lot of things to talk about, celebrate. Ed Kelly, the General President of the International Association of Firefighters, will be our guest speaker, so we're very much looking forward to talking with Ed and hearing Ed's perspective on the passage of the Social Security Fairness Act, which of course he played a key role in getting done. So if you're in and around the Dorchester area today, come on by, say hello. The meeting's going to last until approximately 12:30, 12:45 with questions. You're welcome to bring a guest. Our area meetings are open to all Mass Retirees members, and light refreshments are served and so forth. So again, if you're in the area, come on by, say hello, come up and say hi to me, and we'll go from there. But let me jump into the news of the week. First and foremost, we don't have a lot of new concrete information, really no new concrete information when it comes to the implementation of the Social Security Fairness Act. However, we have received some new information of what's happening behind the scenes within Social Security. I'll get to that in just a moment. But over the past week, we have heard from a growing number of members who have received their initial payment from Social Security. Now, all of these members were denied a Social Security benefit because of the government pension offset. So these are individuals who qualify for either a spousal or a survivor Social Security benefit and were previously denied, whether it was in writing or verbally. Now, more often than not, we are finding that the denials for benefits came more likely under a verbal denial rather than something written, but it really depends on the office you happen to be in and how it was handled at that time specifically. Because again, these laws now go back 41 years, so they haven't exactly been administered equally across the country, unfortunately. And that's led to some confusion and just some difficulty of getting this thing properly addressed. But the good news is members have started to be paid. As a matter of fact, Thursday morning, I got up, having my cup of coffee, got a text message from a member to let me know that he checked his bank account yesterday morning, and lo and behold, his first Social Security payment was there. And he only applied for the benefit about 3.5, 4 weeks ago. So it's a good sign. Now, unfortunately for everyone else who's already receiving a Social Security benefit, but it was reduced because of the WEP or because of the GPO, as it stands right now, there's nothing for you to do. There's nothing that you can do other than continue to wait. Now, Social Security has been working behind the scenes ever since January 5th, 6 weeks ago, almost 7 weeks now, since the law was signed by President Biden, to develop an implementation plan. And the last public update of what they're planning was on February 3rd, so about 3 weeks ago. Now, over the past few days, we have been able to confirm through direct communication from our association with Social Security officials, with two different Social Security officials, that the task force is very much at work on this. They're totally focused on it. And the hope is that within the next few weeks, hopefully sooner rather than later, they will be ready to announce publicly what the details of that plan are going to be, along with what the timeline is for implementation. That way retirees will know exactly what you need to do, when you need to do it, and most importantly, when you can anticipate being paid. Because as all of us know, particularly for those of you who have been members of our association for a number of years, you've suffered under these laws for a long time. You've been denied benefits that are due to you for a very long time. And we want to get you your money as soon as possible. And our hope is that over the next few weeks, that information will finally be available. And that way everyone knows where things stand. And we will get that information to all of you as soon as we possibly can. But the important thing to know is that this is being actively worked on. And while we want it to happen quicker, there are reasons why it's taking longer than anyone would like it to. This is complicated. This involves nearly 3 million people across the country. The Social Security computer systems are old. There's no way to just quickly push a button, so to speak, and have everything simply be updated. It just doesn't work like that. And again, we will know very soon exactly what the plan is to roll this out. Now, again, some good news. Virtually every report we have received, with maybe one or two exceptions, from our members who are in direct communication with Social Security, either by phone or going into field offices for application meetings, the feedback we've been getting is all very positive. People are being treated very well. Social Security staff are well informed, and they're doing their best to implement this law given the resources that they have and the short staffing and the lack of direction at this point from Washington of exactly what they need to do. But things are heading in the right direction, and we look forward to finally being able to provide some concrete information and advice as to how this is all going to move forward. Now, at the same time, we are concerned by the lack of information that has been out there. And as I said, we're going on 7 weeks. And while 7 weeks really isn't that much time in the big picture, particularly given the complexities of this, we would have preferred to see a little bit more active information being put out in the public as to what's going on. We also have concerns in terms of Social Security's ability to serve not just those applying for new benefits or those who were impacted by weapon GPO and need their benefits recalculated and are waiting for the retroactive checks, but also all of those retirees out there who are receiving their checks on a regular basis or new applicants. Social Security is one of the most important federal agencies that exists. And it's also almost 100 years old. It's been 100 years of providing a reliable, secure retirement benefit for America's seniors. And we want to make sure that that continues. And part of making sure that that continues is making sure that Social Security has the resources and the modern computer systems to get the job done. And we're concerned about that, particularly in light of talk of reductions in the federal workforce, the focus of the DOGE Service on finding efficiency and potentially laying people off or eliminating positions. There's a lot of moving parts to this. There's a lot of rumor going on. So this week, Frank Valeri, our association president, and I sent an open letter to the House Ways and Means Committee, specifically to Chairman Jason Smith from Missouri, and the chairman of the Social Security Subcommittee, Ron Estes from Kansas. We have a long history with our association of working with both parties in Congress in a bipartisan manner to serve our members and to represent your interests at the federal level. Social Security is not and should not be a partisan issue. Everyone has skin in the game, particularly when it comes to Social Security. What we have asked Chairman Smith and Chairman Estes to do is to simply use their constitutional authority under the law to hold public hearings on the Social Security Administration. Hold a public hearing on the specifics of implementation of the Social Security Fairness Act. That gives members of the House Ways and Means Committee and the Social Security Subcommittee the ability to ask questions of SSA officials and get answers on the record in the public realm so all of you know exactly what's going on. We also have concerns, as I said a moment ago, about the potential for workforce reductions. Also for the potential to close Social Security offices. We have heard reports that there is a possibility of closure of more than 1,000 field offices across the country. Well, if they close 1,000 field offices, what is the impact going to be on those communities and the people that they are serving? We don't know. And we need answers to these questions before it is too late, before these actions are taken. Congress is the appropriate vehicle to hold these hearings, to put people under oath, get these answers on the record in terms of letting the facts be known. So again, we are calling on Congress to hold the hearings. The last thing that we are concerned with, and we're very concerned about this, are reports of DOGE activity within Social Security. Your privacy and the security of your records, of my own records, I should say also, for all of us, is a top concern. For anyone looking at those records, they need to have a legitimate reason to be digging into all of our personal information, regardless of who it is or what their purpose may be. But that purpose needs to be publicly stated on the record. All of us deserve to know who's looking at our personal information. What are they doing with it? What steps are being taken to make sure that the security of these databases is remaining intact, that this information isn't being backed up or copied or stored or put someplace else that it could fall into the wrong hands. Again, Congress is the appropriate vehicle to ask these questions, put people under oath, and create a public record. And lastly, comments and allegations of fraud or mismanagement or abuse or overpayment or malfeasance, the proper place to discuss those issues is on the record. If there is evidence of those types of things taking place, let the evidence be known. Be transparent. Put it out in the public realm. Testify under oath before Congress as to this is what we found. This is what we believe happened. But making comments on the fly at a press conference or posting on social media without providing any facts, any basis for those allegations, is not the way to instill trust in the system. Again, Social Security has existed now for nearly 100 years, and it is one of the most reliable sources of retirement income in the world. And it is very important that not only retirees, but for future generations of Americans to have faith in that system, that it is being properly managed, that the people who are eligible for benefits are the only ones receiving those benefits. And when you're throwing around baseless allegations that have been debunked by those who know how the system works, it doesn't serve any real purpose other than to create misinformation and disinformation and undermine the legitimacy of these programs, which again, these programs are not partisan and they should not become partisan. So again, we're calling on Congress to exercise their authority to oversee what's happening here, get answers to these important questions on the record for everyone to see the facts, and let the chips fall where they may. Now, in terms of the survey that we are conducting of our members, a lot of talk has been in the media and from different federal officials and from members of Congress in terms of potential reductions or changes in federal programs or reductions in the federal budget that could impact federal programs. And there are quite a few federal programs that directly impact public retirees. Everything from Meals on Wheels, to senior housing, to SNAP, to fuel assistance, to veterans benefits. These are all things that a variety of our members depend upon in your day-to-day lives. And we want to make sure that we have an accurate idea of the types of federal programs and services that our members might be utilizing. So contained in today's email message to all of you is a link to a very short survey that is completely confidential, of course, but we would really like some help from all of you of letting us know what programs, whether it's yourself or another member of your household or of your immediate household, may be utilizing at the federal level. Again, that link is contained in today's email message to all of you, and that would really go a long way towards helping us to serve you and to know what we should be concerned about potentially going forward. Now, lastly, next week, there's several things that potentially are going on or are going on that we're going to be keeping a close eye on. One is the meeting of the GIC, the Group Insurance Commission, that is scheduled to take place next Thursday, February 27th, 8:30 a.m. The GIC will be holding its meeting to approve the FY26 premium rates, so the amount of money that you're going to be paying for your insurance under the GIC for the coming fiscal year. And if you've been watching these videos over the last few months or reading our weekly messages, you know that we're anticipating a double-digit rate increase once again this year under the GIC, most likely somewhere around the lines of 10%. Now, obviously, we are not happy about this one bit. The same applies to our municipal members who have, in some cases, had to absorb a 20% or more rate increase for 2025. Those rates at the municipal level kicked in at the beginning of the calendar year, so a little bit over a month ago. We're very concerned about this. We're very concerned about the issues regarding healthcare affordability, particularly when it comes to public retirees living on fixed incomes. At the same time, we are very grateful to the GIC for choosing not to take the easy way out, which would have been to simply cost shift these new costs onto all of you. For 7 consecutive years, the GIC now has held the line when it comes to increasing copayments and deductibles. That is a very important point, and we need to say thank you where thanks is due. Again, the easy thing to do would be to simply make you pay more in the state and cities and towns participating in the GIC to pay less. And Matt Vino, the executive director of the GIC, and his team have done an excellent job of articulating this point and not passing on those costs to their enrollees. Now, obviously, something needs to be done going forward. You cannot continue to absorb these costs. The state and local governments cannot continue to absorb these costs. So we're at a breaking point or a tipping point here. And we're going to continue to do everything we can on our end to be good partners, to represent our members at the table, and quite honestly figure this out going forward to gain control over these cost increases. But unfortunately, in the immediate future, we're anticipating the average increase across the GIC plans to be somewhere around 10% for the coming fiscal year, which starts on July 1st. Those new premiums will begin to be paid in your June pension check. So that's next Thursday. The other thing we're keeping an eye on that we're anticipating potentially next week or maybe the first week of March will be the announcement by legislative leaders in both the House and Senate in terms of committee assignments for the current legislative session. And by committee assignments, I'm referring to the committee chairman as well as the committee members. Those assignments are critical to really getting the legislative process fully underway for the 2025-2026 legislative calendar. Once those committee assignments are made, we're anticipating that bills will then be given numbers and assigned to committees sometime early to mid-March, with public hearings in some cases starting sometime in March. So as soon as those decisions are made and that information is being made available, we will let all of you know. And again, as soon as we have more information from Social Security in terms of next steps, we will get that information to our members as soon as it's publicly available. Thank you again for tuning in. I hope you're all doing well. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.